brothers and sisters, a reading from the Gospel of Luke to each one of us. Jesus said, "You are blessed when you've lost it all. God's kingdom is there for the finding. You are blessed when you're ravenously hungry. Then you are ready for the messianic meal. You're blessed when the tears flow freely. Joy comes with the morning. Count yourselves blessed every time someone cuts you down or throws you out. Every time someone smears or blackens your name to discredit me. What it means is that the truth is too close for comfort and that the person is uncomfortable. You can be glad when that happens. Skip like a lamb, if you like. For even though you don't like it, I do. And all heaven applauds. And you know that you are in good company. My preachers and witnesses have always been there and treated like this. But it is trouble ahead for you if you think you've made it. For what you have is all you'll get. And if trouble is ahead, if you're satisfied with yourself, yourself will not satisfy you for long. And if it's trouble ahead, if you think it's all life's all fun and games, there's suffering to be met, and you're going to meet it. There's trouble ahead when you live only for the approval of others, saying what flatters them, doing what indulges them. Popularity contests are not truth contests. Look how many scoundrel preachers were approved by your ancestors. Your task is to be true, not popular. This is the Gospel of Luke.
Thanks be to God.
I just love that version from the Message. And just a fair warning, I am fighting a cold. So we're going to get through this together. There might be some coughs and sneezes in between, but we'll be all right. So I have to admit, I have been somewhat obsessed with this idea of blessing. And it's not even a recent obsession either. So it really started months ago when we were preparing for Vacation Bible School over the summer. So I'm pumped that today it just happened that the lectionary lands on Jesus' famous Beatitudes in the Sermon on the Mount that we just heard. And it really tells us Beatitudes is just a fancy Latin word, beatitudo, that means blessings. So we're learning about Jesus' teaching on blessings. And we also have a new small group kicking off this week I wanted to share with you all. It's entitled Call Me Maybe. We'll look at our spiritual gifts and explore them in depth, but it'll actually start from a place of self-reflection on the many blessings we experience in our own lives first. Because I think there's some crazy spirit-filled connection between God's blessings in your life and God's calling in your life. And I strongly believe that if you're unclear on a path or are searching for direction and how you can get plugged in somewhere, a natural starting place is to start where God has already been active in your life. So my obsession with blessings, as I said, it started with VBS, because the theme that week was Be the Blessing, and we had our fun little Tudo the Bee as well joined us. And one of the main daily scriptures was Genesis 12, 1 through 3. And this is a pivotal blessing of Abraham from God that Christians, Jews, and Muslims around the world all claim at least partial inheritance of this blessing. And it teaches us an important lesson about the very nature of a blessing. It goes like this. God told Abram, "Leave your country, your family, and your father's home for a land that I will show you. I'll make you a great nation and bless you. I'll make you famous. You will be a blessing. I'll bless those who bless you. Those who curse you, I'll curse. All the families of the earth will be blessed through you." You know, the most shocking part of that blessing to me is in verse 3. All the families of the earth will be blessed through you. this blessing that we all claim ownership and inheritance of, it demands that we go out and be a blessing to others. There's no sense anywhere or at any time that Abraham and his descendants are just supposed to sit on and revel in that blessing. God's blessing is a call to action. What it absolutely does not ask for is that we jealously and callously defend such blessings. So based on this blessing from Abraham, seems to me that a blessing from God is meant to be shared, not guarded. And if you're following along in your notes in the back of your bulletin, you'll notice some empty slots in there too. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So that was our basis. That was our premise for Vacation Bible School. Exploring ways that we can be a blessing to our community, be a blessing to our country, and be a blessing to our world. And since then, I've just not gotten over this idea of a blessing. And I've even found myself just fixating on some really weird aspects of blessings. For example, if I were to sneeze up here, which is very likely this morning, how would you respond?
Bless you.
Right, bless you, God bless you. You might even get fancy and do the German Gesundheit or Spanish salute, whatever it may be. But it's a bless you. But if I were to have a different, but still very natural bodily function and burp up here, what would be your response? Maybe laughter. Excuse you, pardon you, or maybe you'd expect me to say it, excuse me, be the polite thing. Yeah, exactly. It's just weird to me that we treat these things differently. Or this is a true story that Aaron warned me not to share. On our vacation last week, packed in a full elevator with strangers and everybody, and a family member loudly shared another bodily function. And everyone sighed or groaned or laughed or chuckled like you did there. But in the meantime, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, it's probably more appropriate for us to bless them right then and there. It's sneezing that actually grosses me out. It's throwing those germs all over the place. It's probably how I got sick in the first place. Blessings, they're a funny thing. We treat them differently in different situations too. Like in the Bible, Jacob and Esau, they fought together over the blessing of inheritance from their father Abraham. And it tore their family apart. So apparently, some blessings are non-transferable, and other blessings we give out like Tic Tacs. And when we look at Twitter and see this hashtag blessed handle, it doesn't really clear up any of these situations for us either. So if you're not familiar with Twitter, this hashtag blessed, it's a tweet, it's a Twitter, you can follow it. So people from all around the world, they share ways that they believe they are hashtag blessed. And I wanted to share a few actual ones that I found. So this person, Nathan from Texas, said he's blessed to be named an all-state football player. That's great, good for Nathan. Or Natalie, she opens up a little bit in this and says, anxiety is real. It's normal to have some level of anxiety. When it gets too much to handle, though, talk to someone. I am hashtag blessed to have an understanding and helpful family. So that one hit home a little bit. That was touching. I really enjoyed that one. But then right next to it, we have another idea of a blessing from Brian. Not our Brian here. Running my truck for a bit so that it starts in the morning. It's been remarkably cold for long enough that I can finally stop smelling the fast food remnants hitting in the most labyrinthine corners of my truck. Hashtag blessed. So at the beginning of the sermon, I invited some of you to write your own tweets in that handout, in which ways you feel blessed. And I wrote one as well, and in case you didn't know, celebrating my 1-year anniversary tomorrow with the love of my life.
Oh.
Hashtag blessed.
Yeah.
And as a gift, I gave her a cold and she had to go home this morning. So I'm curious, did any of you write down a blessing? Would any of you feel comfortable just maybe raising your hand? Just shout out. What is the tweet that you wrote? What is your blessing?
Escaped from the snow.
Yes, escape from the snow. Yes.
I would have written getting to be the pastor here.
Oh. Anybody else? Yeah.
Blessed to have this church family.
Yes.
Absolutely. Anybody else? Yeah.
Spouse chosen for me by God.
Can you say that one more time?
What's that? The spouse chosen for me by God.
Amen. So blessed. Yes.
Grandchildren was my first thought.
Grandchildren. Absolutely. Right? We have many, many blessings. And when we think of being blessed, we tend to think of things that lift us up, right? Things that bring us peace and joy and happiness and love and comfort and security. Blessings tend to be things that lift our spirits. And that is good and right. And that should be celebrated, don't you think? So then, why does Jesus have to be so stinking complicated when he teaches us about blessings? Do you remember the Beatitudes we just read? You're blessed when you have a job that makes you rich. You're blessed when you're popular. You're blessed when life is rainbows and butterflies. No. Did I catch anybody sleeping? No. That's maybe what we would expect Jesus to say. But instead, he drops this hammer on us. You're blessed when you've lost it all. God's kingdom is there for the finding. You're blessed when you're ravenously hungry. Then you're ready for the messianic meal. You're blessed when tears flow freely. Joy comes with the morning. Count yourself blessed every time someone cuts you down or throws you out. Every time someone smears or blackens your name to discredit me. Hashtag blessed. Blessing feels like a scary thing when it's coming from Jesus. Blessed when you've lost it all, when you're ravenously hungry, or when tears are flowing freely, and when you're persecuted. Looking back at all the tweets you created, I'm sure that's exactly what you wrote, right? I've been robbed. Hashtag blessed. I'm super sad and crying nonstop. Hashtag blessed. I'm starving and people are making fun of me. Hashtag blessed. To us, a blessing is a good thing. But those blessings Jesus mentioned, they just seem like bad things, don't they? So wait, Jesus, you're telling me that God's favor, God's blessing and protection aren't on the wealthy, the famous, and the influential? If Jesus' words disturb or confuse you a little, then you're probably feeling just like the original audience did. Instead, we learn that God's favor is on the hungry, is on the hated, and the poor. Jesus' teachings are scandalous because they overturn every conventional expectation we hold. So based on Jesus' words, I think that a blessing ultimately glorifies God, not us. I'm going to say that again. A blessing ultimately glorifies God, not us. And I'll explain what I mean by that. I think this because the situations that Jesus mentions, the blessings all ultimately point towards God. Or as the Message translation states it, with less of you, there is more room for God. It seems in Jesus' words that all of those who turn and rely on God are blessed, even those we might deem unworthy. When all else is stripped away and we are forced to simply rely on God, at that point, what a blessing it is to see God's promises fulfilled firsthand. Because blessings glorify God, not us. So just like the original audience that Jesus spoke to, we naturally see our money, our financial security, our happiness, our provisions like food as blessings. But it feels like Jesus is challenging us to even think bigger than that. do these perceived blessings help us to answer that ancient call to be a blessing to others? Or do these perceived blessings act as a barrier between us and others? Do these blessings bring glory to God and further God's kingdom? Or do they build up our kingdom and our agendas? I promise God is not stingy with blessings. Sometimes we can be a tad greedy. God invites us to share our blessings with all of the families of the earth. But sometimes we don't always play nice with others. Jesus' words are challenging, aren't they? They're just so completely countercultural to the point we almost don't know what to do with them. So this contradiction, it plays out in some major ways. So for example, the narrative we are most likely familiar with, it goes something like this. It's presented a lot of different ways, but recently when writing this sermon, I saw it on a pair of bumper stickers on a car here in Palm Springs. On one side, it said, "God bless America," while the bumper sticker right next to it promoted thinly veiled racist remarks claiming that non-whites are coming to America to steal your blessings. Does this sound familiar to you at all? You're told in some form you are blessed, you are fortunate, you are special, but there is always someone, some group of people to be afraid of who is going to steal it from you. Meanwhile, Jesus is saying, blessed are the poor, blessed are the persecuted, blessed are the ones whose tears flow freely. A Jesus who tells us to give our cloak away and turn the other cheek and walk the extra mile even for our enemies. Now, based on all this, I'm not sure how I feel about the contradiction of claiming God's blessing on America on one hand, while simultaneously clinging on to that blessing as if we're afraid it will vanish. Are we afraid that God's blessings are so fragile and scarce that we must fearfully guard them from others? It seems the only narrative I hear on TV sometimes is the best way for me to safeguard my blessings. But I think I'm ready for something new. I think I'm ready for a change in narrative. I want a discussion about how can we share the many blessings we've been given. An honest discussion on what ways has God positioned us to share the blessings we've unearned, we've received. I think I'm ready for a new Twitter hashtag too. It's no longer enough just to be able to list our blessings. I want to know how you're going to share them. I believe we are blessed so that. There's always a so that at the end of it. We are blessed so that we can be a blessing to others. And to me, in essence, that's what a calling is. The ways in which you have been specially prepared to share the blessings of God. Now, I believe everyone here is blessed in incredibly unique and beautiful ways. You have gifts and talents that only you can bring to the table. You have unique experiences and life journeys that have prepared you to conquer hurdles that others in this room might not be able to. You have been blessed so that. So I believe we've been blessed with a purpose. We've been blessed with the intention of us sharing that blessing. We've been blessed with the opportunity to use those blessings to further the kingdom of God here on earth. We've been blessed in so many ways we can hardly count, so that we can be a blessing to others.